sneaking along last is that mean machine with those double-dealing do-batters, Dick Dastardly and his sidekick, Muttley.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of NasCardRadio. This is episode number 74 of NasCardRadio, where trading cards and racing meet. Got a big show for you today. I'm your pal Val. With me is the amazing Jason. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing well as always, Val. How are you?
Doing great. And the man, the myth, the legend, Hall of Famer, King NASCAR Logan.
Wacky.
We're going to talk about the F1 race in Saudi Arabia. And then we're going to talk about some promotional sets that Maxx and some of the other trading card companies put out here years ago that are quite interesting. But let's get into it. Where to start? The Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. That was race number 21 of 22. That was December 5th at Saudi Arabia. That was a mess, and Lewis Hamilton won that race. There was a lot of, controversy, a lot of the stewards being involved, a lot of head shaking. I think it was 2 red flags. I don't even know where to begin with that. Logan, you have an idea where to start with that thing?
I have no idea where to start with that race. I thought NASCAR's had some crazy races over the years, but this race beat all of them. And then when you have these stewards that have to rule on everything and all these gentlemanly rules like dueling or whatever that they've got, I just think it's crazy. It's so different than NASCAR. In fact, I think I heard something about the Formula One stewards have now told Alabama football they've got to give Georgia back the number 1 spot.
Yeah, maybe they're overstepping their power with that one. But, this kind of reminded me of, it's a generally sport, I guess, as opposed to NASCAR, maybe a little more rough and tough or whatever. But my she takes competition dance, and when they're up there, it's all kind of subjective to the judges. There's no hard points, like a baseball, football, whatever. It's a goal, it's a point, it's whatever. It's but in F1, it's did somebody force somebody over in off track and whatever, and deemed a penalty, or you need to give position back and all this other stuff. So if you didn't see that race, which I'm sure most of you did, they had 2 spots there where Max Verstappen had to give back the lead as well as being penalized by time. And then there's the whole qualifying. I didn't even I forgot about that Max had gotten a penalty, had to go back 4 or 5 spots because he didn't fail to yield in that double yellow. But that happened to Lewis Hamilton, and he doesn't get any penalty, they decided, the steward. So, but, and I think somebody called it last week that we were going to end up all tie, and the 2 of them are going to be running for the championship. At least, I guess with NASCAR, they have 4 running for the championship at that last race as opposed to these 2. So I think everybody wanted the hype, and, it's a must-see race. I don't know what else to say about it, but they wanted all the drama. They definitely got it for this last race.
Yeah, this was reminiscent of the championship race where Jimmy Johnson won his 7th championship, where he wasn't a factor all day, and NASCAR threw a late bogus caution and ended up with Joey Logano and Carl Edwards, taking each other out pretty much, and Jimmy taking the lead and winning his championship. It's the same kind of thing to me almost. It seems like, in my opinion, it's like they almost want Lewis Hamilton, who's their golden boy, to win. It just seems to me that way. Just because they've got Max Verstappen giving him back the lead twice and then penalizing him. I mean, gosh, that was just it just boggles my mind. It's just so crazy.
The Mercedes team these last I guess last 3 weeks, Max been, I don't say running away with it, but he had a pretty sizable lead, but he had double-digit lead on Lewis Hamilton, and then slowly eating it away through penalties or having, like I said, the fail to yield to the yellow in qualifying, and here we are, with one race to go, and it's tie. So I guess you couldn't have, if you would have scripted this, was it the fact is stranger than fiction? So
you say scripted. It almost seems scripted to me. At some point, that's just the perception I get from it. It's just crazy.
So I'm thinking about it. So Lewis Hamilton has all the breaks, but Max, man, it seems like he can't do anything right these last few races or anything to try to get that advantage or even get ahead of Lewis Hamilton. So, can he persevere through this and Red Bull and stay focused to compete in this last race, as opposed to Mercedes, which we talked about having, something up their sleeve. And I think even if without all that shenanigans, Mercedes still probably had the faster car, but we'll see with this next race. So
yeah, and you of course in Formula One you can't block, unlike NASCAR, but we all know Brad Keselowski doesn't like blocking. He just knocks people out of the way. And I can't blame him for that. But it was another, Hamilton, Verstappen 1-2. And I guess you might have noticed, for those of you who have watched on the podium, Max got up there and got his trophy, and then he just like freaking left. And I think I kind of know why, because, NasCardRadio has exclusive audio of what Lewis Hamilton was saying to Max Verstappen right before they went up on the podium. So here, give a listen to this.
One thing I have to say is, so the one section of the race, I think it was lap 35, they were racing and they kind of crisscrossed or touched, whatever, and so Max had to go off the track, came back on, had the advantage, so then Max had to give the spot back. Max slows down. Lewis slows down behind him, which I don't understand. And then there's plenty of room for Lewis to go around. He doesn't. And I think Max finally at that point hit his brakes, and then, they touched and they crashed. So not only does Max have the position back, but then he gets penalized by time. And then he gets penalized again for the brake. So they say brake checked him or whatever. But so I guess the thing is, if you ever have to take a position back, don't take it back and just slow down when they slow down. It's just, I don't necessarily know if I have even, who I pull for, whatever, but it just rubs me the wrong way. Or maybe the problem is the communication between the teams, because it seemed like Max knew he needed to slow down, but Lewis didn't know he was going to give him that position. But I don't know why Lewis would have slowed down, because he's doing everything he could to pass him. So
yeah,
anyway,
they played audio on that and showed the audio from both of those cars, back from Verstappen's car and from Hamilton's car, and they both were gearing down. You hear them going, vroom, 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 vroom. And I don't know what happened.
So I don't know. Does Max need to like pull over and get out and like wave him by or something? Yeah,
give him a little wave. Yeah, come on.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if we talk about Lewis Hamilton's cards or not, but we've talked about him here the last few weeks, and I have a feeling we might be talking about him next week too. But we'll see if the racing gods would shine on Max or Lewis Hamilton next week. So, but I guess the key points for Lewis Hamilton seems to be the 2020 Chrome tops is the one that everybody seems to be going after, or consider his legitimate rookie card. So, and again, I know speculators in there if that 8th championship's already baked in his cards, or or if it's to be seen what's the right word? That, future championships as well. So I don't know if there's room for speculation on those or not, or if he wins the 8th championship, how many more collectors come in to the hobby looking for Lewis Hamilton rookie. So,
hey, Jason, do you think that if Lewis Hamilton wins his 8th championship, that he's going to get a bump in pricing?
That's a tough one because I think 8th is almost like too many. I don't know if that makes sense. If it was like 3, 4, 5, I feel like, yeah. But 8th almost seems like people might be bored. Almost like it's kind of expected and that bump has already happened. Now, you guys would have a better answer, but reference Jimmy Johnson. How did that go?
Oh, everybody hated him.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what we're talking about, but...
But what I'm saying is that I think, Jason, what you're saying is there's a point where you win and you're competitive and there are other people winning, so you have that competition between them. But then there's another one that's like so dominant of the sport that it almost gets to be, I guess, assumed and boring, like you were saying. And there people are on to, something else. So, this whole thing with Maxx, I think, reminds me maybe of Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon, right? So the two of them going back and forth, as opposed to Jimmy didn't have anybody like that. So Jeff Gordon had Earnhardt and Earnhardt had Gordon, and they fed off each other and they both propelled themselves in popularity, as opposed to Jimmy Johnson, who he didn't really have that other antagonist or whatever. They were just so dominant with 5 championships in a row. So
I feel like when it's expected, it's not exciting, and that takes away the bump. And I guess one example that just came to my mind was Tom Brady. When Brady was winning with the Patriots, everybody expected it. When he left to go to Tampa Bay, all of a sudden there was a bump, and it was, okay, let's see what happens. And it was almost like he started over, even though he didn't. But now that he's in Tampa Bay and they won, it's like, oh shit, here we go again. Same old Tom. But I think once he changed teams, it was, okay, let's see what happens. And there was a little bit more excitement. So I think outside factors play into that.
Well, also Mercedes is so dominant and has been dominant. So the other thing I can think of that can maybe derail it or somewhat and help it is this competition with the Red Bull Racing Honda team that they've come on. And, if Lewis does end up winning, Max has got him on the ropes, which no one's had him on the ropes before. I don't know if they've ever gone into this last race tied for points. So
I'm looking at the list of championship winners.
Yep.
And when when you're talking about 8th, this is unfamiliar territory for me, so I wasn't sure how often it had been. But since 2014, he's not been the champion one time. So that also goes into the kind of like what you said, when it's back and forth with Earnhardt and Gordon. This guy's winning every year, like literally every year. So that also kind of hurts him, I think.
But it seems like, when you're getting collecting wise, it's Maxx and Lewis Hamilton, and then it's a sharp drop off for the rest of them in pricing anyway right now.
Oh, that's for sure. I mean, except for some of the lower numbered cards, the cards out of 5, cards out of 1, the 1-on-1 still of the other drivers still sell pretty good, but just the regular cards, you're right. It's Verstappen and Hamilton, and that's it.
Do you think because we all know how NASCAR is, there's a handful of releases, and it's the same with F1. Do you think that helps maintain his pricing where it's not football and there's 74 products or, whatever the huge number is? Like, do you think that helps, or do you think it hurts because it's limited?
I think it definitely helps because, it's like what you said, when you have 74 football releases every year, I mean, first of all, it makes it hard you can't collect everything. There's just no way.
Right.
But yeah, I think it definitely helps. I mean, it gives you, it creates less cards when you think about it of that particular driver or player. And, I think it's going to help keep prices, I won't say these prices are reasonable, but it'll keep them level, I guess. Unlike, some other sports. I mean, because it's like, all right, if you have a rookie coming out in football this year and he's got 74 different rookie cards, which one's his real rookie card, or does he have a real rookie card, or it's hard to say. I mean, I know the collectors figure all that crap out, but at least with NASCAR and Formula One, I think it's a little bit easier. I just hope that Topps doesn't flood the market this next coming year because they've had all this success this year.
I would agree. That would be smart for them.
Because I think they're doing a chrome, and now they're going to do a base.
Yep, I saw that.
And then we have the stickers and the Max Attacks. I know of. And then we have the Dynasty, but that's in a whole nother stratosphere.
Oh, God, yeah.
I think you have to have a base product, a Donruss, a flagship, something in that $5 or less per pack. I think you have to have that if you want to get anybody into collecting that genre, whether it's a sport or wrestling or whatever you want to call it. But you got to have some sort of entry point that's really low like that.
Well, I mean, you try to get into chrome from last year, and we're talking $2,000 a wax box. Not a case, but a wax box. And then, I think it's a 200 card set. So, those prices escalated quickly. So if you're not sitting on, a wax box or something that you bought for $100 or whatever, it's to go back now, you need a few grand to try to make a set out of packs. There's no factory set. So yeah. And even the stuff for next year, I think, is not cheap. I don't remember off the top of my head. We'll definitely talk about that when they get a little bit closer to releasing, but I don't think, it's at the NASCAR pricing at $120 a box. So
no,
but moving on. So we talked about Lewis Hamilton. There's about 532 trading cards for 2020 for him. The standings, as we said, are even. And then the next third driver, Valtteri Bottas, is 152 points behind.
Oh, he can catch up.
Yeah. Not even with turbo could he catch up.
Not even with the DRS system.
And so the next race, last race, race 22 of 22, is the Dubai Grand Prix. And that is going to be Sunday, December 12th, 12/12 at 8 a.m. It's 55 laps on a 5.28 kilometer track it's the Yas Mara circuit on Yas Island.
That's interesting.
Yep, all the marbles. So,
yeah, I think whoever gets the pole is going to win the championship.
Okay.
That's what I think. Whoever has the pole in this race is going to win the championship because whoever starts on the pole is going to win.
So, looking, Max has got 9 wins over the 21 races. Lewis Hamilton has 8 wins over the 21 races. Max has had 9 poles. Lewis has 5 poles. Lewis Hamilton has led, I guess it's less than 50-something laps than, or has 50-something more than Max Verstappen. So, oh no, I'm sorry, that's laps. No, Max Verstappen has led 651 to Lewis Hamilton's 246. I was way off.
Wow, I had no idea he has been so dominant in leading laps. But you know what? He's had I don't. Since we haven't been following this and talking about it all year, I wonder how many times this year he's had to give the lead back.
I know at least twice.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, I'd never seen that before. I had to, and then to be, not to beat a dead horse here, but not only to give it back twice, but then penalize the 5 seconds and then having to go to the principal's office and get another 10 seconds on there. So,
yeah, And I think Muttley was also in the principal's office too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that thing, like who's behind the mask, right? So we'll see. Now, this is our first paying attention to the F1 championship. So next week we'll do a recap. We'll see who wins. So
yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be Lewis Hamilton. I think I think they're going to make sure it happens.
Yeah, I'm guessing like 95% chance it's going to be Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think circumstances will play out in such a way that he's going to win, and he's going to take the championship.
That was just, I don't know how to think here that even if Max won, the Stewarts will take the championship away from him.
Yeah, probably they'll penalize him 5 seconds, and Lewis Hamilton will be 4 seconds behind him or something.
Yeah. Moving on, we're going to talk about promotional sets. Some of these little sets that were either giveaway with purchase or I guess you had to redeem. Yeah, I came up with a few different sets that I remember over the years. And I guess some have been successes and some have been failures. And I guess you can define failure, or success different ways. But the one that comes to mind, and I think they just stopped printing cards, is the 1992 Food Line Richard Petty set.
I forgot about that set. I tried to forget about that set.
Yeah, so I think Jason even has some of these. These are, and I think actually, if you thought about it, it's a great promotion. And I wish Panini could do something like this, but at each track, they had packs of cards, and it went to a complete set. And I think it was because this was Richard Petty's last year, and it's kind of commemorate that in his racing career. And that each track had, I don't know, I guess it was Pro Set or it was a Max. And
it wasn't either one.
It wasn't?
No.
But I just know they produced so much of it. And the only way to get these cars, I guess, were at the track.
No.
Is that correct? No? Okay. And I know Food Line had a factory set, and I think that was either sold to employees or employees had the option to purchase that. And that there is out of this whole thing, a hologram card that is extremely rare. That still commands, I guess, some money, but
no, they were available at Food Line grocery stores, and they had a new set or whatever you want to call it, new pack every week during the race year, and you would collect all those different packs and get your set.
Okay.
So I'm looking on eBay, and obviously we know they're cheaper. I mean, they're, lots, a whole set of 29 packs is like $7 plus shipping. But I'm zooming in on the front, and it looks like they were made by MPA Promotions.
Okay. I'm not familiar with them, but
I'm not either.
I think it was just a little bit overproduced. But it's right in that wheelhouse, I guess, of overproduction.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen eBay auctions where people have pallets of boxes for sale.
Now, Logan, you collected at the time. Was there a demand for that set, or is there just no demand?
Well, I mean, there was a demand, but I don't think anybody realized that they were doing the same thing that they were doing to like 92 Donruss baseball cards, where they were making a ton of them, because there's no Food Line grocery stores anywhere close to me. I mean, the closest ones would be in Nashville, and whenever I'd go to Nashville, I'd try to get some, and a lot of times you'd see they would just have them sitting there like at the end of the where you put the groceries out at the very end where the bags are and stuff. They'd be sitting there. You just get some packs. They didn't, at that point, they just didn't care. But I had no idea till the promotion was over that they had made so many of those, because I wanted those things pretty badly. because I'm a Richard Petty fan anyway.
Right.
So, I wanted those, and like I said, I wanted them in the worst way. But now they're so plentiful. It's like what Jason said. You can get the whole set for $7 plus shipping now.
Now, and this is the reason everybody or people listen to the podcast. So one of the nuggets that I know is that there is a white factory box, and it's got a band on it, and those were sold to employees. Now, supposedly the literature I read is that those have the holograms in them. They're also, I guess, random in the packs as well, and I guess they're very far and few between. But I've only seen one of the factory sets for sale, and this was probably years ago. But I did not purchase it, and didn't confirm that with the hologram in it. But I think the hologram at the time was, $30, $50.
What do you mean a white band? Or excuse me, a white box with a band? What's the band?
So the band is like a strap.
Okay.
It's hard to. I know when I see it, but it's hard to. So it's a plastic band that's like heat shrink wrapped around it.
Gotcha.
That kind of has it keep the box kind of sealed or whatever. You'd have to remove, and it's a white box with the blue Food Line logo on it.
Gotcha. So I want to do some math here. So looking on eBay, and and I've seen these before today, but they came 4 boxes to a case, and the 4 boxes were the same. So like the one I'm looking at is the Atlanta. It's like an orangish color. It says Atlanta, Georgia, November. There are 96 packs per box. So wow. 96 times 4 is 384. And to purchase this is just over $40. So 40 divided by 394. It comes out to about 10 cents a pack. I mean, that's how cheap they are now.
Yeah, I've got an unopened box from every race.
Oh, that's nice.
Sitting over in the other room here, and they're just collecting dust right now. Those things.
It's a pretty cool thing to look at, though, because each one has a different cover, different color. Like, that would be a pretty nice collection that somebody could display cheap.
And the cards in the set, right? There's old images of Richard Petty throughout the years.
Yeah, there's one card of him riding a bicycle, an old Schwinn bicycle. I actually took that card and got it graded because he's on a bike.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're a bike guy. Some of the other ones, and you guys can chime in if you have some other ones, but the one I think people would like is the 1992-1993 Maxx Texaco Davey Allison set. Those actually had autographs inserted into the packs. The 1992, you really can't tell a hand sign from like a pack certifieds, but the 1993, they actually changed the position of his name on the card for the one card that actually are pack certified, and the name is lower on the card than the unsigned version. So, somebody can get the other version hand signed, but if you see that Davey Allison with the name on the lower of it than the 2, then that's a pack certified. I don't know what the insertion rate was, but and I think he passed away in 1993 later in that season.
Yeah, so those are hard to get.
I'll give you my usual eBay update. Those, if you buy the smaller lots, it's about $1 a pack, which, considering what we're talking about for the sport and the era, that's pretty amazing to me. But actually, there's one person that has 500 packs for $100 shipped. So
oh wow,
you can get some cheap ones, but if you're getting a small lot, they're about $1 a pack.
One of the good.
I was going to tell you, one of the very first ones I remember, and it's not even NASCAR, it's IndyCar, is the 1986 Bosch IndyCar set. that I think what the deal was is you bought some spark plugs and you got this little cello pack, kind of like the way they did Maxx, 88 Maxx, that had the 8-card set in it. And those cards are notorious for being off center. But I remember getting those. I remember distinctly being at a St. Louis card show back in the day, and some guy came up to our table where we were, and he had just a little grocery bag, and he had these cards in there. He was trying to shop them around, and he came to our table, and of course I looked at him. I had never seen him before, and I said, I don't know. I'll give you $2 a piece for them. And he said, yeah, I'll take them. It was like 8 sets or something like that. And, little did I know at the time that they were kind of rare. I had no idea.
Yeah, those are tough. And the centering is notoriously. There's not a lot of border on that card. So if they're off center, you notice it pretty bad. Yeah, but that, like I said, that was one of the first ones. That's at 1986. So that was kind of early on in the more modern racing card game. And then one that I've been looking for, and Logan, I know you have, I can't find, is the Gillette Young Guns. 2008 press pass. Yeah, I'm trying to find a set so I can get an autograph, but I can't even find one card. Yeah, that's a 6-card set. It had the back then they had this promotion called the Gillette Young Guns. And it had Clint Boyer, Kurt Busch, Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, Casey Kane, and Ryan Newman in there. And you got one card when you bought, they were inside the pack of the Fusion razors. And on the back of the cards, they had little codes that you could go online and enter the code, and you could win a trip to a driving school or something like that. But yeah, those things are hard to find. I mean, can you imagine the guys that bought those razors? They saw that card in there and went, screw this. And they just threw it away. They didn't care. So those things are tough. They're very tough. The 1999 Kodak Wisk Richard Petty motion card. Yeah, I like those. But the thing about those cards is those things were literally in the powdered detergent. So there could be some condition issues. I mean, yeah, they had them in a cello pack or a little cellophane wrap, but I mean, even when you take them out of the wrap, that detergent is still on there, and even if you try to wipe it off, it's still kind of it has that weird feel to it, and it has that, of course, that detergent smell. But those are cool cars because they had like some of the old Richard Petty cars and things on it. I like those. So it doubles as an air freshener. It does. Another one that I kind of ran across and not knowing what it was probably until too late, with the 2013 Lowes Kobalt. It's the number 48 Jimmy Johnson team that came in has a lot of cards in the pack, but it's basically the whole crew, Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson. I think there's some inserts too in that, but I've only seen I think it was one wax box, and I think you find some singles and some team sets, whatever. But that was one that kind of under the radar, and it wasn't produced by Press Pass. It was produced by some third party. I don't know if Kobalt and Lowes actually had that printed by somebody. And
I can give you some information. I was a vendor in Lowes in 2013. Never heard of this. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Because
I guess it was 2014, 2015, I had seen it and then kind of found the printer, and I guess they printed some other stuff, but, they were out of stock of that item. And so you could find some, remnants of who made it and that kind of stuff, but, never saw it at Lowe's.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember, a stand-up, a sign. I don't remember anything. But I did find there's a pack on eBay for $12. That's all I saw.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards in that pack. I think it only took 1 or 2 packs to make the set. But what I thought was really cool is that it's got the crew guys on it. And if you look at the back or whatever, it's got some of their social media contact information and stuff. So I thought it was a good concept, and I think I've got some of the cards. Somebody, I think from the Nuts side had sent me a few, but I don't have a complete set. But like I said, it was cool, and I thought at least I'd mention it for everybody.
Yeah. Another set that I like is the 2003 Nilla Wafers Team Nabisco set. And it pretty much centers around Dale Jr. I think Michael Waltrip's in there and some others. It's only a 4-card set, but they're also like a little bit bigger cards, and they're that lenticular 3D motion kind of thing cards, kind of like the Richard Petty cards you were talking about from Wisk. And what was cool about them too is they had like a little window on the box of the Nilla Wafers, a clear window, and you could see the card you were going to get. So that was kind of cool. So I liked those. I thought those were pretty neat. They're, like I said, they're oversized. They weren't made by any of the big manufacturers. I don't know who made them.
Well, another food issue and kind of oversized is the 1992 Slim Jim Bobby Labonte set. And it's actually got an autograph in there. And that autograph, that card, I guess, is folded. So when you open it up, it's whatever it is, a 4x5 or whatever it is. And he's signed that inner of it. Yeah,
I actually had one of those and had no idea that I had it until like maybe a year ago when I was just, I don't know what, you may have mentioned it to me or something, Val, that you talked about that. And I said, well, I'm going to go look at the set I got. And I went and looked, and I had the whole thing, and I opened up the thing, and sure enough, there was the Bobby Labonte autograph in there. I couldn't believe it. It's like all these years, I never knew that was even like that.
So I did look. There is one on eBay. I don't know how long it'll last. I think it was like $30 for the whole complete set with the auto.
And he's a Hall of Famer.
Yes, he is a Hall of Famer. He went in with the class of Joe Gibbs. I'll never forget Joe Gibbs, Tony Stewart, Bobby Labonte.
Yeah, that was a Joe Gibbs year for sure.
Some others on my list are the 1994 Maxx The Select 25. That's that blue. I don't know if it's chrome or whatever it was. There's something about that. I think I like that. It comes packaged in a clear cellophane as a whole set.
How was it distributed, or was it a giveaway? Was it
I think that was through Maxx, and through the Maxx Facts or the Maxx Club membership. I think, I'm not sure how else it was sold. And we've talked about the 91-92 Maxx McDonald's Racing before on the show. And if you needed something to drink with your Nilla Wafers and Slim Jims, we got the 92-93 Pro Set Maxwell House.
Yeah, that's a 30-card set. Do you know how those things were distributed? At least in the beginning?
Mm-mm.
Remember they used to have those filter packs where it was just a little, like I don't know what you'd call it, like a little powder puff thing or whatever. You threw it in your coffee maker. It already had a filter built in. The coffee was in the filter. You just threw it in your coffee maker and made your coffee. I guess back then that was a big deal, but it was in those filter packs boxes. So when you bought a pack of the filter packs, you got that set of cards in there. So
okay.
That's how those things were distributed. And they also had a deal where you could mail in two proofs of purchase, I think, and $5 and get a set as well. So anyway, it was kind of crazy.
And if you didn't want to have coffee, you can have the 2001 NasCar Gatorade Front Runners Award set. And I think that was a 9-card cellophane set. I think Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s in there, and I think Jeff Gordon, and like a wax box got 40-something packs of those 9 cards.
Didn't they have those at like Circle K?
I think so, yes.
If I remember correctly, I think that's where they came from. Another weird kind of set is the 2002 Upper Deck Twizzlers set of 10 cards. but only 2 of those are NASCAR cards. The rest of them were different sports. Cards 9 and 10 are Kevin Harvick. And those things were actually in the packs of Twizzlers, and you could turn over the backside of the Twizzlers package, and you could see what card you were going to get. So I remember doing that. I didn't care about, they had like Mia Hamm and Nomar Garcia Parra and like Donovan McNabb, Donovan McNabb. I'll get it right here in a minute. And Alonzo Mourning, I think, was also the other ones. And they had 2 cards of each person. So that was kind of cool to get them. Of course, you can pick those up for little or nothing now.
Yeah, I wish they would bring some of those back for racing, but.
So what do you guys think was the most recent release like that, where it was a promotion tied into a product? I know we have the 2013 Lowe's, but is that the most recent one?
Because
obviously we've had them for other sports. We did the Utz baseball, and I feel like there was something else. But for NASCAR, what are we thinking?
Oh gosh. It seems to me like there's been something, but golly, I can't. It's not coming to me right now.
From Press Pass, not from Panini, right?
Yeah. I don't think Panini's done any kind of promotional cards for anybody.
Well, I was gonna say they did we mentioned the other day the Fox announcer set, but that was kind of on a slide, and that was a promotional, but that was like grassroots promotional. And also,
not product related either.
Was that?
Not really a product tie-in.
Right. And then the other one that Panini did was the Prism, the 2016 Prism, and it's like a 5x7. It's larger than a normal card of Bobby Allison. And they gave those away at the NASCAR Hall of Fame when they did. So real quick, NASCAR Hall of Fame, they have Glory Road where they have the different cars from the different generations. Go starting from Gen 1 all the way up the road, and every 3 years or 5 years they cycle those cards. And one time they cycled them, and they brought in Bobby Allison's Coca-Cola car, and that's where the crew was dressed up in the Coca-Cola logo jump stuff. So Panini had given NASCAR Hall of Fame large cards, and it looked exactly like the 2016 Prism Bobby Allison card, but it was larger. And I was there for that, and so they had given those away.
Yeah, you're right. Those are all the one-offs. Yeah, as far as trying to have like a national promotion or a regional promotion, I don't think Panini's really done anything yet. I would love to see that. I miss those days of having all these little small sets and being able to buy a specific product and get cards. I always thought that was pretty neat. Of course, I grew up in that era with a lot of regional sets and things like that. So those things really appeal to me.
So, and I guess it's not necessarily on Panini; it's on one of whoever's doing the product, right? Because they would contact. Because when I worked at Lance, I thought about when the 100th anniversary of Lance happened to have baseball cards or something on the boxes of the home packs or whatever. But there's something that's going to have to be generated from the actual product or whatever, and then contact Panini because they have all the licensing and printing of the cards or whatever, and partner with them. So I guess we need some kind of Southern or whatever company to partner with Panini and produce some cards.
Now, there was a company that I worked with in Pittsburgh when I was in college, and they were a marketing firm. And the process that I remember, and I'm sure it differs, with connections and stuff, but basically the company of, let's say, the food, like Lance or Ritz or, whatever, would, go to the marketing firm. Who do you have contacts with that would make sense for our product? And then kind of the back and forth of, do you want to do this? How much money? what's the timeline, and like making all the logistics work. But it always seemed like it was the product looking for the people instead of vice versa.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I was going to say, with cards the way they are right now, if that would be something that we would see more of. But, during the pandemic, the OOTS, didn't happen. I was looking forward to that because it would have been like the third year in a row. But haven't really seen anything. Have you seen it for anything for the other sports, basketball or football or?
Mm-mm.
So
the closest I've seen was at Comic-Con. I think it was the New York one, like a month or two ago. They gave away a 9-card sheet of AEW cards to where they were perforated that you could, tear them apart if you wanted to. But that's the closest that I can think of since the UTS. And that's not really a product tie-in, but it was at least Upper Deck making an attempt with a new license that they have.
Well, Jason, I got a question for you. Given the way that collectors collect now and that collecting habits and, people are more player oriented and things like that, do you think that because of the collecting focus on, like I said, individual cards, people don't care about sets as much these days? Do you think that has any effect on why some of these companies are not getting card sets produced as promotional items?
I think it has to do more so. I don't think you're wrong, but I think it has to do more so with the price point of the typical product in the hobby. I don't think your typical price point is that, dollar pack anymore. It's the $20 pack or, whatever you want to say, but it's definitely a higher price point to where it feels like it's such a gamble or a gambler's paradise versus what it used to be, which is what you said, more set-based, team-based. Because now look at how many guys just throw base cards away. And
yep.
I don't remember that happening when I was a kid at all. And it's that thing of, does it really matter? And my family, we're big toy collectors as well. And we kind of pay attention to the cereal and the promotions. And my wife is like me. We like that stuff. Like, we've bought cereal that we've never eaten in our lives just to like, hey, let's see what this is like, or, what this toy is or whatever. But across the board, we don't see it like we used to. And then with cards, I remember every year Post came out, and Hostess and Kraft had stuff for years. And it's not the same customer that it used to be.
So when you're saying that, the only thing that popped in my head that's still going on, I think, and it's been going on for years, but it's in Canada with is it Hortons?
You're right. It's Tim Hortons. They've been doing that for, I want to say 5-7 years, and it seems like it's really successful.
Yeah, I remember. Well, when we say about Denny's used to have it back in the early 90s.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's what the secret is with Tim Hortons and Upper Deck, but I guess it's like finding that right sponsor. I mean, I remember, and this one would be good. M&M's. So I worked at Winn-Dixie for a little bit, and you'd had a tray of, I guess it was maybe 6 bags of M&M's, and underneath that tray, or in between the M&M bags and the box that it was in, was a card, and it was a 2-person card without any, I guess, without team logos. If I remember, I had like Cal Ripken and whoever, but to do that, with Kyle Busch, that'd make perfect sense with M&M's. But
especially if you would put it in the boxes. Don't put it in the bags. Put it in the boxes that are in the candy aisle, not the cash wrap.
Right. So when I say the box, it's like we call at Lance like the home pack, where you have the eight packs of Lance crackers in that box, and you'd have like 2 Toast G and 2 Van Lunch or whatever, or Nicots, or and so it was in the bags of M&Ms were in a box like that, and then between the bottom of the box and the bags was this 2-card perforated I guess 5x7 type card. So yeah, something like that I think would be pretty cool.
Now there are 2 others that I remembered. I think 2014 Topps did one with Walmart with their market side pizzas, like those pizzas that you can grab by the deli that are pre-made but they need cooked. They had that for 1 year in 2014, and then Topps did a promotion with New Era and lids to where if you bought, I want to say it was like $30 in hats, or if you bought one hat maybe that was the on-field at lids, you got a pack of Topps cards, and there was a 9-card set. I think they did that a couple years in a row, but changed the format each year. Like it wasn't the same, but those also had some relics that were pretty rare. Like if you got a relic, it was like a 1 of 1 or numbered to 99 or less. Like they weren't, they're still hard to find, which they were easy to see. And I know a lot of store managers, I'm sure, took them for themselves, but those are other ones that I remember. But yeah, all the ones that we're talking about, the ones that we're missing are racing. And it seems like that fan base is probably the most loyal. Those are the ones I feel like we should be having more of.
Well, I agree, Jason, because, they did a survey years ago that the NASCAR fans are the most loyal fan base to products. If your driver is sponsored by Tide, I mean, people are going to buy Tide. They're not going to buy, Cheer or whoever else. So there is a brand loyalty there for NASCAR fans, and I don't see why a lot of these companies are not capitalizing on that with trading cards.
Yeah, to back up your point, I was a lids store manager for a few years, and when Junior switched to National Guard and Mountain Dew, every year we would get a handful of pit row hats, like the on-field hats for NASCAR. We would get random drivers, and they would never sell. They would always go to clearance. The year that Junior switched, I've never sold so many NASCAR hats in my life because it was people getting the new products. And I don't know if companies don't understand that, like that there's that loyalty, even in a regional release, which I love because then it's limited.
Yep. I totally agree. I mean, there's a lot of products I buy strictly because they sponsor NASCAR teams, because I want them to keep on sponsoring NASCAR teams. So I'm loyal to those guys for that, and I appreciate what they do.
Yeah. And I think, like, I'm a different breed of collector. I would rather have a story to go with my card or my set that I hunted down, that I went to 20 stores to try to get it all, than to have a card worth $100. Like, I'd rather do all this work and it be worth $5 because everything that I would associate with it.
Well, speaking of stories, let me tell you a story real quick, and it ties right into all of what we're talking about. In 1992, ProSet made a set of cards for Rudy Farms. It was a 20-card set, and they distributed the cards in their sausage and biscuit boxes and things like that, and they were cello wrapped. And you got like one card in every box, and it was a 20-card set, but you could only get 15 of the cards, which were just the regular drivers at the time, in the boxes, and then you had to send away for the 5. There were 5 Legends cards, and you had to send off to get those through a mail-in offer, with proofs of purchase and stuff. And of course, I was collecting those, and I tried to get some. They had an album for them and everything, and they were really cool cards. They were made by ProSet. So here in town, there's a Jimmy Dean I guess it was at the time their main office for Jimmy Dean. And Jimmy Dean owns Rudy Farms. So I'm a network guy. I'm in there doing network work. And I go into this closet one day to look at this switch. And I looked down, and just out of the corner of my eye, I saw something that said Pro Set on it. And I looked down, and there's this case of those cards in this closet. And of course, immediately I go to the manager of the build of Jimmy Dean there, and I'm asking him. I said, "What can I do to get this box of cards?" I said, "I'll do some free work for you, whatever." So I ended up working out a deal where I did some free work for those guys, and they gave me that case of cards. And of course, it's only got it's from the 15 cards set, and I still have that case here at the house. It's about, I don't know, maybe 2 feet, 2 feet by a foot. It's maybe 6 inches deep. It's full of those packs, and I think there's 3 cards in a pack, in those cello packs. But yeah, that was pretty cool to be able to get those, and it just was coincidental that here I am working for these guys. And I look down, and there's this whole case of them just sitting there.
And I feel like those cases you'll probably never find.
No, you're not going to find them. Which makes those 5 Legends cards, rare. I mean, those are tougher cards that you had sent off.
Now, when you were saying that, it made me think of the mom and pops.
Oh yeah, the Earnhardt. I forgot about those.
I think available at the restaurants. And I think there was I don't know if it was a mail-in or whatever. I know the one with him with the hog or whatever is supposed to be harder to get than the other ones.
Yeah, we didn't have any mom and pops here. That was another one of those things back in the day, like I was really jonesing to get that I couldn't get because we didn't have any of those places around here. So that was, truly a regional set back in the day.
So I think we had them around here, but I wasn't collecting NASCAR at that time.
Yeah, those are pretty cool because they've got Dale Earnhardt Sr. on there, so those are always going to be collectible. I'm sure that they don't command a huge price right now.
I don't think so. I was going to change the subject over to a couple of eBay auctions here before we wrap up.
Okay, go ahead.
We actually talked about this the other day, Logan. The 1972 STP Charlie Dalsbach sold for $250.
Yeah, I saw that it had one bid and sold for $250.
Yep. 1988 Maxx SGC 98 of Alan Quickie for $45.
That's not bad.
And a 1983 Uno Kyle Petty PSA 10. It's him standing next to the card. $100, $99.
Wow.
One bid. And then there was a 1983 Uno Bobby Allison, card number 25, PSA 10, and that was $79.99. I think that was the price and not best offer. It says one bid. Yeah. Okay.
And back last week, there was a couple of 1988 Max Charlotte cards that sold. They were both PSA 9s. One of them was Richard Petty's rookie card or supposed rookie card. Number 43, and the other one was the number 87 short print Dale Earnhardt with his car, and both of those sold for the same exact price. They were both buy it nows, PSA 9s, for $119 a piece. So that's pretty strong for a PSA 9 88 Max. But of course those were Petty and Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Something else too, and I'm going to go ahead and mention his name. Back on the 5th, a 2021 Prism 101 Ty Gibbs Black Finite card sold for $700. Best offer accepted. It sold for $700, or no, I don't think it sold for $700. It sold for best offer accepted. So I don't know if it sold for $700 or less. I'm sure it sold for less than that.
Oh, and then one other thing, we got contacted by a gentleman. So I guess there's a bounty out there. He's looking for 1972 STP Fred Lorenzen next to the car, and he's willing to pay how much, Logan?
At least $4,000 for one. If it's graded, he'll probably pay more.
For PSA 7 or better?
Yeah, so there is actually a bounty out. That's pretty amazing. But you got to think that PSA has only ever graded one of those cards, or is it one or two? Anyway, the population is very, very small.
Yeah, I think it's two. I think one was labeled wrong, and the other one was labeled right. So, but that's pretty strong again. That goes to show you how tough some of these things are. So,
indeed, another eBay auction that I saw was a Lewis Hamilton PSA 8 Top Trumps 2009. It sold for $899.99. That's amazing. There's some cards out there, some raw ones out there on ComC right now.
Wow.
So, it's that card. People have started to take notice of that card. And also, I saw this was actually on the 7th, a 2021 Prism Haley Deegan Color Blast sold for, I think, $1,100. Wow. Yeah, those Color Blasts are commanding some pretty good prices right now. So if you hit one of those, you're doing well. You just paid for your case, or maybe you paid for your case. You're gonna come close anyway.
Those Color Blasts are tough.
Yes, they are. They're very tough. They're, like I said, I think they're at least for every 3 or 4 Lava Flow cards, there's one Color Blast card. So they're extremely super short print.
Well, gentlemen, I don't know if you have anything else for.
I got one more thing.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to call this the listener mailbag. Last week we talked about memorabilia cards, and we were talking about things that they could do, that they could put on cards. We had a couple listeners make some suggestions. Brad Bethune, the Texas card dude, says they ought to do engine block cards. That would be kind of cool. Shave off a little metal piece of the engine block and put that on a card. That'd be something. And Colin Hostetter, he is his handle is CJH200912. He's thinking that helmet cards would be cool, which I agree. I think those could be some super short print memorabilia cards, because that would be hard to get some of those pieces on cards. And he's also talking about maybe them doing some race winner jumbo check cards and some race win checkered flags. Instead of giving the checkered flags to the little kids, let's take those flags and let's cut them up and make memorabilia cards out of them.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, actually, they had checkered flag in the 2011 Element.
But were they race used?
That I don't know. I have to look them up.
I don't think they were.
Because I know, like, I think I have one of the Tony Stewarts, and it was, like, numbered to 10. So, good, Jason.
What's the size of those squares on a checkered flag?
It's about 1 inch by 1 inch.
So that all those people that try to make the picture out of all their patch cards, every checkered flag card, it's either black or white, and you just line them up, and then you make your own checkered flag with it.
That'd be cool. I like that idea.
Now, one thing I did was, and this was early on, was I cut out pieces of white poster board, like 2 inch by 2 inch. And so the plan was to take those and put them and mount those on a piece of black construction paper or whatever, and make a checkered flag that way, and they would sign in the white. And so I have a few that way till I got to like Matt Kenseth, and I had him like try to sign it or whatever, and he kind of like pushed it back, and he was asking what I was going to do with it. So then I told him what I was going to do with it, and he signed it. So I was like, thinking of the big picture kind of a project. So, but I've seen people to bring checkered flags and get those, autograph on those white squares like that. Logan showing his.
Yeah.
Those are big squares though.
Yeah, that's a really big flag.
But yeah, and then I was gonna say, like, just real quick on those. There's part of the white and part of the black. It's like more white than black piece. But like I said, I don't have the one. So
yeah, that's all I had from the listener mailbag. So just want to give some shout outs to those guys.
Yeah, definitely shout out to those guys for doing that. When I heard the check one, I'm like, oh, that's genius. To have like, I don't know if they do that anymore with those big checks. They've been kind of, I don't want to say secret or whatever, but NASCAR used to, and now the Racing Card Reference used to publish, NASCAR would publish on, and I guess it was a PDF after the race on every position and how much each position paid. But then they stopped that. I guess it was late 2010s. I think, or maybe no, early, maybe mid 2010s.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore. I kind of miss that because that was one of the big things back in the day. Like Fred Lorenzen was the very first driver to break the $100,000 in a year mark. This is back in the '60s. So $100,000 back in the '60s was a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So he set a record for that, and of course, we don't have the Winston Million and all those things like we used to have where you could win the $1 million bonuses and things like that. I mean, they do have some of those things in the Xfinity series for that leader bonus or whatever that's called. I can't remember exactly.
I think that's thanks to Lemonis, Marcus Lemonis, I think, because Camping World Truck, I think that was his thing.
So, but it's not as pronounced as it used to be, and like you say, you don't see drivers holding up the big checks anymore.
No, our $1 million bill.
Yep. Oh, that was cool back in the day.
Definitely. Well, gentlemen, I don't know if you have anything else. You can wrap it up.
Yeah, I got one more thing. Okay.
Well, we're gonna have a big, I guess, big recap next week here on the conclusion of F1. We'll see what happens there. So, but definitely want to thank our seasonal sponsors with Greenway Press and, of course, Duncan's Toy Chest and, of course, Panini America. And so please like and share the podcast, share NASCAR trading cards with your friends. And from me and the guys, we will catch you next week.